This is the San Diego Young Republicans podcast. Welcome, everyone. This is episode 6 of the San Diego Young Republicans podcast. I'm your host, Cynthia Kaui, the president and chairwoman of SDYR.
And I'm Zack, Gianino, vice president of external affairs for SDYR.
And we're very excited, lots of fun, exciting things. Before I introduce our guest, we came back from a leadership conference hosted by our national organization, Young Republican National Federation. Very pleased to announce that out of all the thousands of chapters that were all across the United States, San Diego Young Republicans was selected, and we won the Outstanding YR Recruitment Award, and that was based off of our increase of 700% of membership over the last almost 2 years. So it's a huge blessing and huge privilege and distinct honor. We don't take it for granted at all, and so we're really excited to be able to utilize that fire that we had and to be able to mobilize our membership so they can get activated and get involved in the political process. So that being said, one of the races and one of the candidates that we're excited to endorse and also support in the fall is Tanya Williams. She is running for Chula Vista Elementary School District. People ask us all the time, why do YRs care about local races and school board races in particular? One is our membership is ages 18 to 40. So some of our membership have families of their own. And secondly, even if they don't have children of their own, someday they most likely will want to have families of their own. And I actually even argue, even if you don't have children yourself, it's a very altruistic and important thing to care about the future of our country. The children that are in these schools right now, they are the ones that are going to be your future president, the future governor, future business owners, future community leaders. So it's really important as a young Republican, whether you have a family right now or don't have a family right now, to care about what's happening at our school board. So that being said, please welcome Tanya Williams. Thank you.
Hello, it's so great to be here. So honored to be here. I love what you said. It's so important for our children. They are the next generation.
Absolutely. Appreciate you stepping up for the race. So I'm actually going to have our co-host. He has our first question we want to ask you.
Yeah. So right off the bat, I'm actually very curious. What got you into getting into politics? I mean, it's a pretty significant move to make. So what got you to make it? It
sure is.
Yeah.
First of all, I had no interest of being in politics whatsoever. My husband told me, he tried to encourage me years ago. He's like, you'd be good. It'd be good for you to get in politics, but I had no interest whatsoever. And so I was actually recruited, and I did not say yes right away. It was just like, you would make a good school board candidate. You have the perfect pedigree and, the perfect personality and everything and passion. But I did not answer right away because it was a big deal, and I wanted to make sure that I was doing it for the right reason. So I just had to search my heart and just make sure. I had to answer questions to myself. I had to talk to my family and see how they felt about it. And so when you talk about children, that's a big deal to me, and I've always been an advocate to want to help children. So that's what really just set everything in stone for me.
Yeah, and the fact that you didn't just jump into, I'll do it right off the bat. I mean, that kind of explains and it shows your real intentions and how pure they are, because you gave serious consideration, where so many today just do it just for the heck of it. So
yes.
Yeah. So the next kind of question I want to pivot to is about educational freedom. So how can we, in your perspective, how can we ensure that parents have the right to choose the educational path that best suits their children, whether that's through charter schools, homeschooling, or traditional public schools, without the bureaucratic influences?
Well, that's important for parents to be able to have the right to choose, to have school choice. And the first thing I would say is advocating for laws that protect parents' choice, school choice. The second thing I would say is getting involved in our local community. By coming together, you can form groups. By getting involved in the school board, getting involved in the PTA, becoming a voice, an advocate for what's going on in your local schools. So that's what I would say.
Yeah, no, and that's incredibly important. My mom was a part of the PTA when I was in school, and just her single-handedly influence on making sure that the institutions were held accountable, because sometimes, there's human error, and when it's about our children, it's a serious issue. So it's an important endeavor.
I think they're getting ready to pass a law, I think starting in January, the AB 1955, that allows, and that kind of like takes the authority from the parents and the influence from the parents, and it's really an attack on children and parents. And I think it puts pressure on some employees from the school that might still want to do the right thing, but just hiding things from parents. That's a big issue right now. So that's why it's important to get involved. All parents need to be involved. If you have children in school, if you don't, if you have grandchildren, just need it to get. This is a serious matter, because these are the future generations, future doctors, nurses, politicians, teachers, and we want to make sure that they are having the right foundation. So
absolutely.
No, absolutely. Thank you for sharing that too, because I know a huge topic and point of contention is the fact that nowadays there's people that think that they know better for other parents' children than the parents themselves.
Yes.
And parents ultimately are the biggest stakeholders in children's lives.
Absolutely.
And not to undermine the role that educators and teachers can play in developing a child ultimately, but I am of a firm belief that family and parents should be the ultimate influencers in parents' life, and it seems like you share those same values as well.
So absolutely, because we're the one that bleed for our children. We're the ones there, and even when they get home from school, whatever issues are going on in school is coming home, and parents are really ultimate. They're the ones. I know I'm the one that stayed up at night taking care of my children. When they had emotional, social issues, I'm the one advocating, and nobody's going to advocate more for my child's best interest than me. That's most parents, they're going to advocate more.
Absolutely.
And they know their child more. So
yeah, in school I used to get these little outstanding attendance awards and stuff and whatnot, and my mom used to be like, when are the parents going to get awards, because we have to sacrifice a lot to get kids here to there, and so I was like, that's a good point, and it emphasizes how integral that parents are in this whole process.
Yes, absolutely.
So I know one topic that is touched upon in a lot of discussion politically in regards to the school boards is this issue of bonds. But that being said, I do think it is important to make sure that school boards have the right funds to be able to make sure that our children are getting the right resources, and just making sure they're having the best type of experience they can have, not only educationally but also recreationally as well, making sure they have a wonderful school experience outside of just the classroom.
Yes.
But firmly, as conservatives mostly,
yes.
We don't really advocate for higher taxes, and we're typically fiscally responsible as it should be. So that being said, when you're elected in November, what's your vision in regards to making sure that school districts respectfully and responsibly steward all these financial resources?
I like what you said, when you're elected in November.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Thank you for that. So, first of all, developing transparency in our budgeting process is very important, having transparency. So, having something that parents or the public can see where the budget is, where things are being spent. I think that accountability is very important for our budgets, for what's going on in our schools. Secondly is accountability, having things lined up where there's accountability for, let's say if we want to have a matrix program process that shows, first of all, students' progress. It shows efficiency in what we are implementing in our budget for all these things working together for making sure that our budget is on task. So a lot of accountability and transparency is very important to making sure that our schools are successful and making sure that the focus is academics. The most important thing is making sure that budget is for the children and not for any other lavish, for the right curriculum that's going to help our children. Our children right now in the Chula Vista school district, we are the largest elementary school district in California. The largest in California.
Oh, wow.
So that affects California.
Yeah.
That affects the nations.
Yeah.
What kids are getting, if we can't give them a foundation, an elementary foundation, they are not going to succeed in junior high or high school or even college. I have a friend that owns a couple of restaurants, and she was talking about the issues, and she was saying, I have kids out of high school and they can't pass the food handlers test. I mean, that is critical. Do you know we have the largest school district? We have 50 schools. We have how many students? Because the number just changed. Over 28,000 students in our elementary school
like a
district.
University.
And almost 50% are failing in reading. Close to 60% are failing in math. That's major. Think about it. It's serious. This is foundation. If they don't get the foundation by third grade, most times they are lost. And so that's why this is critical for our school. It's critical that the budget is going to the right programs that are helping our children. That's why accountability and transparency is very important for our budget, because our budget affects what our kids are getting academically.
Yeah, absolutely. And that sort of connects to the next piece of this, which is, how can we make sure that the curriculum that's budgeted is, that piece is transparent, because the budgets can show the line items, but there's so much politicization of the school. And like you mentioned, our educational numbers and our success rates are plummeting. And when you take a step back and look at the global platform, it's horrendous. It should be horrifying to the future of this country that our numbers are where they're at and continue to drop.
Yes.
And I think the focus is because we're not looking at arithmetic, mathematics, how to excel in the languages, and we're sidelined by these influences of politics. So how can we make sure, again, and I'm sure it's sort of already answered within the budget, but how can we make sure the curriculum is transparent for the public, for the parents, for the onlookers?
I think the same thing with the curriculum. We need to have some curriculum transparency. I think we need to have the curriculum online for the parents to see the curriculum with all the details, the units, the learning objective, having it online available for the parents, and also being able to, if there's any changes made, the changes are made, and they are also accountable of posting any kind of changes that they have. Parents should be involved, and the community should be involved with curriculum development.
Not just the state.
No.
Yeah.
And it's important, being involved with now we're not saying that we have to bring just our ideas. We want to make sure that there's just accountability and what our children are learning, and establishing policies and guidelines that protect the integrity of our curriculum and keep it to where it's just not about politics. We want to keep it about academics. It's so important.
So what's happening is not translating into the real world as it should be. And I think in the 21st century, we got to change the way we approach it. We can't do old things and expect new results. And I think that's where we're at. So great point.
Thank you.
So along with curriculum and transparency and just making sure our children are set up for success, I know one topic that causes a lot of controversy among school boards is the topic of security. I know when parents, they send their children to school, they want to make sure that their children, come home safely. So that being said, when you're elected, like what steps do you believe schools should take to ensure that children are secure when they go to school every day?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I think parents, students, and staff all should kind of be involved in the safety issues and kind of know the protocol of what to take. They should always be involved in the drills and different things going on in the school. Also, we need to make sure that there's safety in the classrooms. Sometimes teachers have to deal with, disruption in the classrooms with fighting and the different issues like that. And so that's part of safety too. I know we have other drills and stuff for fire and different protocols for safety, but also we want to make sure our teachers are safe and all the students are safe. And we want to promote a positive environment for all students. We want to promote kindness and respect to everyone, and I think that promotes also a positive environment for learning, but also, of course, training for teachers and staff, continual training for them for safety protocols, and just making sure that our budget includes the things that we need to keep our the top of the line things that keep our school safe is very important, because parents don't want to have to get a phone call or even not know what to do, so they should be informed on protocols as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that it takes me back to when I was in schooling, grade school, and I think about what tools did I walk out of there with. Yes. And unfortunately the result was what I didn't walk out with, and that was more daunting to me, about not knowing or understanding taxes correctly, or not understanding, going over the Constitution in a week, right? Or something that's like, that sounds like it should be a lot longer when it comes to even younger school grades. So the next question I want to ask is, how can we integrate more teaching about the American civics process, and because people, I think, look at politics and think, oh, that's just an industry. It's really not. It's the way our entire society operates. It's the business of people. And I think, when we don't emphasize, not being political, but being civic, right? And I think we've lost a lot of that in education. So in your opinion, how can we reinstall or reinstate this civic duty that Americans have to be a part of the processes for the youth?
Well, I think that is critical to every American citizen to know where you come from. History is important. Isn't history important in your family?
Absolutely.
When you know where you come from, doesn't it feel like part of your identity? You can identify who you are. And if you don't know who you are, you're just confused. And so we need to know who we are. So I think history has to be incorporated in our curriculum. That's very important. Talking about the documents of the Constitution, talking about Independence Day, those things should be incorporated in the curriculum. Also, we can have students having it age appropriate. If we have projects for students to do and talk about, they can do stuff in our local community. They can do projects as a group project,
hands-on,
and promoting things in the community. And they can also have field trips where they visit local museums. And this is one of my favorite things, age appropriate, having class debates about events that took place in history. Is so important, not only do they learn about the different sides and they get to talk about the different perspectives of it, but it also causes critical thinking for them, which is great. So there's a lot that we can do. We can have speakers come into the classroom and talk about the different things. So, and this will give them a sense of valuing who we are and where they come from. I think that's important, and it promotes patriotism. It's important. It's important to respect and honor who we are and where we came from. And not that we can't continue to grow in things too, but we can't forget about whether it's touchy subjects or not. They all need to be discussed, not for a fight, and we can also agree to disagree and things, but that's why we're America. Because we can do those things. We need to get back to those things where we can talk and discuss things, and we can agree to disagree and walk away and hug each other and still be friends, and we can teach our children those things too.
I love hearing you say that, because one thing that I have always felt has been missing, and I got a taste of it a little at UCSD, but the Socratic seminar, that the idea of having this open dialogue discussion, like let a student stand up and make a case and then find out that they're wrong, and then why were they wrong, and how can we learn from that? And it's like, okay, maybe you're not wrong, but here's a different angle, and having that open comfortability to have these conversations. You can't coddle kids forever and then expect them to be able to just whip out good discourse. So the training needs to sort of needs to happen at an age where they can, like you said, they can see different perspectives and they can analyze different, make different judgment calls, and it doesn't need to be too crazy. It doesn't need to be too intense for kids. It can be basic stuff, but at least getting them into the idea of critical thinking and analyzing. Those are huge things. So I love hearing you say that.
Yeah, all those things prepare you for adulthood, for college, for life.
Absolutely.
All of those things. It just open your eyes to different perspectives, and I love learning. You never stop learning. You should never stop learning at whatever age you are. So sometimes having those discussions help us learn. So there's nothing wrong with
that. Yeah, teachers are learning all the time, and how much they can learn from a child that's expressing themselves is huge.
Exactly. We can learn from the kids too.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Well, we asked you a bunch of really intense questions today, and you did such a phenomenal job. Yeah, totally. Well, to end it on a really great note, we're going to ask you the easiest question that we have tonight. How can people get in touch with you? How can people support your campaign for school board in Chula Vista?
Well, they can support if they want to get involved by helping go door to door or make phone calls, or if they want to contribute in any kind of way. They can go and you can especially vote for me come November 5th.
Yeah.
So if you can't do anything else but vote for me, I will take that. So you can visit my website for school, Tanya, the number 4, cvschoolboard.com. That's Tanya, Tanya, the number 4, cvschoolboard.com. And you can also email us at info@Tanya for Chula Vista School Board. cvschoolboard.com.
Okay.
My Instagram is Tanya for the word for Tanya FORCVESD, Chula Vista Elementary School Board. Tanya TANYA FORCVESD. Thank you. And I also have Facebook. So my Facebook is info@Tanya4schoolboard.com.
Perfect.
Thank
you so much, Tanya. So that concludes.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so that concludes this episode, the San Diego Young Republicans podcast. Tanya, we proudly endorse her for her election.
Yes.
You can check us out on our website, SanDiegoYoungRepublicans.org. Her information, her website will be on there in our Engage page, along with all our other endorsed candidates. In addition, one way we're supporting our endorsed candidates is doing volunteer deployments. So if you go to our website, SanDiegoYoungRepublicans.org, or if you go to our social media on Instagram, Facebook, X, or LinkedIn, you will see a full calendar of all of our targeted races. So save the date for all of that. RSVP at SDYRpolitical@gmail.com. Stay tuned for the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you.